Today, we're bringing you an update on the story of one of Illinois' most powerful and now most disgraced political figures, former House Speaker Mike Madigan, convicted on 10 federal corruption charges, sentenced to over 7 years in prison, fined $2.5 million, and now his attorneys are asking for bond so he can stay home while he appeals the whole thing. Yes, you heard that right. The man who ran Springfield like a mob boss for decades wants to delay the consequences because, in his words, the trial wasn't fair. Welcome to Nelly Miranda. Mike Madigan was found guilty in February on 10 counts, including racketeering, bribery, wire fraud, and conspiracy. The conviction came after a lengthy federal investigation exposed his corrupt dealings with ComEd, the state's largest utility company. Prosecutors showed how Madigan used his office to steer jobs, contracts, and political favors in exchange for, surprise, surprise, personal and political gain. He wasn't just playing politics, he was running an enterprise. In June, the judge sentenced him to 7.5 years in prison. He was also ordered to pay $2.5 million in fines.
He was the longest-serving legislative leader in American history. And now former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan will be going to prison. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in a lengthy corruption trial. Our Sabrina Franza was in the courtroom.
Mike Madigan, known as the Velvet Hammer, now a convicted criminal sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. This was a trial that went on for 11 weeks concerning an investigation that took place over 10 years. Mike Madigan left the federal courthouse after being sentenced to 90 months in prison, 7.5 years for 10 charges of bribery, conspiracy, and fraud, and a $2.5 million fine. He took no questions, his face emotionless as it was pretty much all day in the courtroom. Madigan was originally charged in a 23-count indictment, his case possibly the largest case of political corruption in Illinois state history. In fact, at one point during the sentencing, federal prosecutors even referenced another corruption trial, a former governor, Rod Blagojevich. They argued Madigan's case was even worse because governors come and go. Madigan stayed in the Illinois House for decades.
Sounds like justice served, right? Well, not quite, because Madigan isn't going quietly. Just this week, his attorneys filed a motion asking the court to release him on bond while he appeals.
Tonight, Mike Madigan's legal team is asking the court to release him as they appeal his conviction.
Last month, the former Illinois House Speaker was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. He was convicted of bribery, conspiracy, and fraud, and was ordered to pay as well $2.5 million in fines. In a new court filing, Madigan's attorneys say they plan to appeal over several factors, including erroneous jury instructions and insufficient evidence. This filing was not a surprise, with an appeal expected, but so far, no ruling from the judge.
Their argument that the trial was flawed, that the jury instructions were wrong, and that the evidence wasn't strong enough to uphold the convictions. Oh. And they added that Madigan is also 83 years old and that his wife is sick and she needs care, because how dare you try to jail a senior citizen for his crimes? Now, look, no one is cheering for someone's family to suffer, but let's be honest here. These excuses, age, health, family, they only seem to come after the guilty verdict, don't they? Where was all this concern when Madigan was shaking down companies and enriching himself and his cronies? This is where we have to draw the line, because what Mike Madigan is asking is for special treatment. Let's not forget who Mike Madigan really is. This isn't some minor political figure caught up in a one-time mistake. This man was the longest-serving state House Speaker in U.S. history. He ran the Democratic machine in Illinois like a mafia don. For over 30 years, he handpicked candidates. He controlled the redistricting. He punished enemies and rewarded loyalists. He wasn't just powerful, he was untouchable until now. His conviction was a major win for accountability, not just for Illinois, but for every American who's tired of seeing career politicians abuse their office, Granting him bond would send the exact opposite message.
A political bombshell this afternoon from the Dirksen Federal Building, where prosecutors have indicted former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan. He's charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and bribery relating to a years-long scheme involving Illinois' largest electric utility. ComEd previously admitted to hiring Madigan cronies and confidants, giving them jobs and lucrative contracts to curry favor with Madigan for his support on legislation. But it doesn't end there. Prosecutors accuse Madigan of essentially running a criminal enterprise that existed to enhance his political power and financial well-being.
Look, it's one thing to appeal your conviction, that's your right. But it's another thing to try to delay justice to avoid prison time by playing the sympathy card after you got caught. Mike Madigan is a master of manipulation. That's how he stayed in power for so long. In this latest move, it's not about the law, it's about leverage. He wants to stay out of prison by getting a favorable appeal ruling or die of old age before serving his entire sentence. That, my friends, is privilege. And it's exactly the kind of backroom deal making that put him in prison in the first place. Now, here's what really matters. When corrupt politicians escape consequences, faith in government erodes. When elites get leniency while everyday Americans are punished for far less, trust collapses. And when voters see the system bend for people like Madigan, they check out. We cannot allow that to happen. Illinois has already paid the price for decades of corruption. This is a chance to restore some integrity, not undermine it again. Madigan should serve his sentence, no bond, no special deals, and no more games. What do you think? Should Mike Madigan be released on bond while he appeals? Does age and family situation matter in a case like this? Or do you believe he's just trying to game the system? Let me know in the comments, and as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like and subscribe, as it really helps support the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.